This drill is exaggerate the arm shallow. So frequently what I see is when golfers are working on the arm shallow piece, they try to do it in a perfect fashion. So frequently what I'll see is it'll look something like this. They'll be like, all right, I've been training this at home. I've been trying to shallow just like that. And what I'll say is, okay, show me that swing or show me that movement. So if I did that same movement, that would end up looking a little bit like that. And you'll see that I'm still getting a little bit steep with my arm movement. So what I've done is I've looked at some of the numbers. Unfortunately, we can't measure everything with the AMM system yet, but looking at this lead form rotation, what I'll tend to see is that during transition, tour pros are going to rotate that somewhere in the 10 to 15 degree range. But the upper end, the guys who do it the most, are in the 20 to 25 degree range. So I've got my nice little goniometer here, and I'm going to set this to 25 degrees. So if I dropped it 25 degrees, it would look something like this. So if all I did was rotate that form 25 degrees towards that direction, between about club parallel and club just past 45, somewhere around here, it would drop, let's say, that much. Now, if I was to do the same thing with a driver instead of my little mini teaching club, what you would see is it would look something like that. So now let me get this to about where you would be. Here's kind of the top of the swing, and then I drop it like that. So you can see that the driver is dropping about 2 feet. So if I did the upper end, the guys who really shallow out the club with the arms in transition, that means that I'm not doing this. I want the club to drop about 2 feet, kind of like that. So if I'm practicing just making that shallow move, just making that transition move, it ends up looking like this. Frequently when golfers do that, then when they get up to the top of the swing, it starts to have this shallowing look, and that's when you can start adding body rotation to steepen it back up. So if you're working on your shallow movement, a simple little kind of recipe you could do is doing it in a vertical fashion. So I'm not in golf posture. Go over here, and then as I start turning my body towards the target, I'm going to try to shallow that thing out 1.5 feet with a 7-iron, 2 feet with a driver, something like that. Then I'll get in my golf posture, and I'm going to do that same feeling, same movement of shallow the club out, and then I can progress into some of my release movements. But there's a good little recipe for working on it at home. That 2-foot drop when you add body speed ends up looking like the club just barely shallows, but a lot of golfers who are used to steepening in transition try to do it too perfectly when they're training it, and ultimately end up doing it only a couple inches instead of this more 2-foot range. So when you're working on it, exaggerate it, try to drop it as much as you can. I think there's a limiting factor because of the body rotation that you couldn't really drop it too much, but experiment with it. And if the miss pattern is matching that you are opening the face and shallowing the club, then it shows that we're moving in the right direction, and you should keep training it.